Good evening, folks. This is Deb Della Piana or Deb Della Metronome or Deb Della Harpsichord, whoever you prefer to refer to me as. And this is your chain reaction report. So we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. And this is probably going to be the first in a few videos over the next few days. I do have a couple of great shut the fuck up ideas, but I don't want to mix them in, because what I wanted to tell you is that we are, as a group, the Factivist Project, monitoring the right wing, because we do consider them the clear and present danger here in the United States. And this is based on just their actions for the whole 4 years that Donald Trump was in office, and their ramped up actions now that he is out of office. And make no mistake about it, he fucking lost that election. No one stole it, okay? So I signed on to Donald Trump's Save America campaign. And it's basically a fundraising arm for Donald Trump. You know, the man who hasn't grifted off the American public enough, but quite frankly, I'm going to just say this flat the fuck out, and I know people are going to be upset with me, but the people on the right who are giving money to this cretin, they're not the brightest bulbs on the planet. They're a few IQ points short of absolute normal, and, you know, they can't be saved. But the rest of us need to save ourselves. Because if you're one of the people that believes that Vladimir Putin is fighting fascism in the Ukraine, I suggest what you should do is stop supporting a brutal dictator and start looking at the fascism that's going on right here in your own borders. Now, you know, what I really want to talk to you about tonight, though, is the letter, the email I got from the Trump campaign. And now you click on this and you take this poll. It's the biggest, longest fucking poll I've ever seen in my life. And the reason I hate these fundraising political polls, because it's all yes and no. You can't elaborate, you know. Do you think the country was stronger under Donald Trump than it was under Joe Biden? Oh, fucking hell no. But they don't give you any mechanism to explain why you feel that. So I'm going to give you some. I'm not going to go through the whole list. The list was like, I can't believe there had to be about 40 questions on this fucking email, okay? The Save America, President Donald J. Trump. He is no longer president. He is a fucking civilian, okay? A civilian, all right? And he's not the president. So let's look at some of these questions here. I won't go into detail on some of them. You know, here's where we start. Do you agree Republicans will take back the majority in 2022? Fucking not if I can help it. Personally, I'm going to tell you right now, and this has been echoed by many people. This is not just from me, but people who have actually worked in his administration. And I'll put these articles in. If Donald Trump and his minions are given back power in 2022, even on a Senate and congressional level, you can start right away to kiss American democracy goodbye. They are not about democracy. They do not love this country, okay? You can't claim to have democracy when what you are doing is using your freedom to take away the freedom of other people. And that's exactly what the GOP does, and that's exactly what the right wing does. Do you agree that President Trump is the leader of the Republican Party? Oh, yes, I do. I do, because the spineless, gutless wimps in the GOP just cannot muster the balls to stand up to this guy. We had in total, out of 221 GOP legislators, 147 of them voted to overturn a legitimate election. Let that sink in, folks. 147 out of 221. Okay? And the ones who did not vote to overturn the election have become the targets of Donald Trump and his minions. So yes, I agree. And, all of this nonsense from Kevin McCarthy, there's no place for white supremacy in the GOP. There's plenty of space for white supremacy in the GOP. Your former president was a white supremacist. You can trash Marjorie Taylor Greene all you want for speaking at Nick Fuente's America First thing, but you know what? She still has a job here, okay? She has a job here. Paul Gosar has a job here. So yes, Donald Trump is the de facto head of the GOP because the clowns who are in office right now, with the exception of two, are enabling him. Do you agree Republicans need to run on an America First agenda in 2022? When did Donald Trump ever put this country first? Donald Trump never put this country first, not one time in his entire 4 years. If he put this country first, he wouldn't have spread false information about COVID-19. He wouldn't have stopped the CDC from releasing the information they needed to release. He would not have promoted bogus cures for COVID. If he really did put America first, none of us really know about it. None of us in my group really know about it. Okay? He also, upheld dictators all around the world. He emulated them. He literally idolized Kim Jong-un to the point where he took love letters back to Mar-a-Lago with him that should never have left the White House, that should have been turned over to the National Archives. He fawned all over Vladimir Putin, all over him. And Vladimir Putin had his number. Vladimir Putin would bring women to the meetings with tight dresses on, knowing that Donald Trump would be distracted by that. I'm sorry, folks, but Donald Trump never put America first, not for one fucking nanosecond. Do you agree America was stronger under President Trump than Joe Biden? Oh, hell no. Don't ask me to elaborate on that one, but no, I don't. I'm sorry, but any man who spent his time, basically filing executive order after executive order to overturn the rights of certain groups of people, that doesn't make America stronger. That makes America weaker. Do you agree that the Democrats are ruining America? Nope. I think America's already been ruined by the GOP. Plain and simple. All it took was 4 years in office to legitimize white supremacy, to bring it out of the closet again, to turn it back into a major power in America, to create a haven for domestic terrorists. Do you agree that far-left Democrats like the Squad are a threat to America? Absolutely not. I actually think the Squad is pushing the Democratic Party in the direction it needs to go in. I think people like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema need to be removed from the Democratic Party. I think they need to be primaried, and I think they need to be voted out. And even if people see Joe Manchin as an immovable object, they need to primary him regardless. The dinos need to be moved out of the party. We need to make this a progressive party, okay? We especially need that to fight the GOP. Do you agree Nancy Pelosi must be replaced as Speaker of the House? Nope, I don't. Nope, sorry about that, because I don't believe that the Republicans should be returned to power. I don't believe that Nancy Pelosi should be removed. Do you agree we need to secure our borders again? Let me just say this about that. This is why I don't like answering these questions, because my answer would be no right here, but only because I know what securing the borders means to Donald Trump. Okay? So here's what I think. I don't believe we should have open borders. I don't think it's feasible. But I also know that securing the borders for the GOP means making this a country of white people only. And I don't consider that a benefit to anybody in this country. When I was a kid, learning another language was considered cultured. When I was in school, I took 7 years of French. I took 2 years of Latin because I went to Catholic school and we needed to understand Latin to understand the Mass. The Mass was still said in Latin at that time. And I took 3 years of Spanish. And I actually received the highest grade in my senior class for Spanish. I consider those things a privilege, to be honest with you. Okay? Now what do we have? We have a bunch of legislators here that want to make English the only language in this country. We're culturally deprived by the GOP. Get a fucking clue, people. Okay? Get a fucking clue. My niece's son went to a public school where they learned bilingual. He took his math class in Spanish. You know, all of this enriches a person. It doesn't take away from the fabric of America, because America isn't a white nationalist country unless we allow it to be made that. Do you agree America's economy was better under President Trump than Biden? Really? America's economy was better under President Trump if you were a millionaire, because President Trump reduced the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. There are corporations that pay fewer taxes than I pay. I pay 34% out of my paycheck. The corporations pay 21%. Absolutely not. Do you agree Republicans need to fight the radical Biden agenda? Hell no. I think we need to push the radical Biden agenda, because if you're considering everybody in this country has the same rights radical, then you are also a white supremacist, a bigot, and a misogynist. Have a nice day. Do you agree CIT is racist? No, I think teaching children revisionist history is racist. That's what I think. I think continuing to celebrate Christopher Columbus Day instead of Indigenous Peoples Day is racist. I think lying to America's children is racist. And I also think that allowing people to spy on what teachers are teaching and report them so that they can be fired or punished is fascist. So no, I think critical race theory is essential in this country so people can understand what bigotry and homophobia and everything else look like. Let me just say this. I keep hearing from all of these people, Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Greg Abbott, that CRT will make white people feel guilty, white children feel guilty for their history. No, it won't. Not if it's taught properly. No, it won't. They worry about the poor little snowflake white people being put upon by teaching critical race theory, but they don't give a flying fuck that you want to literally wipe out an entire fucking swath of the human race and pretend they just didn't exist and what happened to them didn't happen. If you call that racist, I'm a fucking racist, okay? Do you agree that CIT should not be taught in our schools? Absolutely not. I think it should be taught in our schools. I want my children to learn that shit. I would want my children to learn that shit. And you know what? My kids, they educated themselves. Okay? Will you support Republicans to stand against CIT? I won't support Republicans on any level. I have never voted Republican, and I have no intention of ever voting Republican. Do you agree America must restore law and order? Let's talk a little bit about this. So, who is it that's going to restore law and order here? Donald Trump and the GOP? Let's talk about first, before I get into a laundry list of things here, let's talk about January 6th. You consider that law and order? Do you? Do you think beating a police officer trying to defend the Capitol to within an inch of his life with poles and flags is law and order? Do you think breaking in to look for legislators to harm is law and order? Do you think saying things like they're in the tunnels now, turn the gas on, is law and order? There are 750 fucking civilians right now being prosecuted for what they did on January 6th 2021. That was not a bunch of peaceful patriots who are being put upon. They're not political prisoners. They are insurrectionists and seditionists, and they need to be punished. And by the way, the January 6th Commission needs to continue on with what it's doing and punish the rest of them too. Legislators who took part on January 6th are not about law and order. They're about turning over the government to reinstall a fucking dictator. But let's talk about Donald Trump's version of law and order. He had a part in his campaign chairman, his campaign manager, his longest-standing political advisor, his national security advisor, that's Michael Flynn, who consorted with the Russians, and the deputy chair of his inaugural committee. By the way, his campaign chairman also shared polling data with Vladimir Putin. Okay? His deputy campaign chairman went to prison. His personal lawyer went to prison. That would be Michael Cohen. His other personal lawyer is under federal criminal investigation. That would be Rudy Giuliani. He's also been disbarred already. Okay? He himself, Donald Trump, has been named by prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator in multiple federal felonies. And he is personally under investigation in 2 separate states for criminal activity. He is under investigation in Georgia for election fraud. He is under investigation in New York City for crimes committed as part of his business empire. So when you talk to me about law and order, you cannot be serious thinking that the GOP is going to restore law and order in this country. Do you agree that Democrat-backed plan of defunding the police was terrible? So let me say this. I think defunding the police was a bad term. Here's what I think. There is never going to be a time when we don't need police in this country because, you know what? Bad people just aren't going to go away. You know, the Ted Bundys of the world, you know, people who commit murder, people who kill their children. You know, like the guy recently who shot his 3 kids and then shot his, whoever was an older person. I don't know if it was the grandmother. You know, those people, they don't go away. We need police, but here's what we don't need. We don't need white nationalists as policemen. We don't need racists, and we don't need misogynists. And they need to change their criteria for being able to join a police department, just as they need to do the same thing with the military. Do you have any idea how many people who took part in January 6, 2021 had military backgrounds? There is no place in the military or the police department for any of those people at any time. And there is also no place in American society for vigilantes like Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse is not a hero, even though he's being made to be a hero by the GOP. Kyle Rittenhouse illegally obtained a gun, crossed state lines to a state where he was not invited, except the call that was put out by the racist police department for any help that they could get. He took an automatic weapon, defended buildings from supposed looters and graffiti artists that he was not invited by any of those businesses to protect. And he shot one of the people in the back several times. Now, his judge helped him out by dropping the illegal gun case, by dropping the illegal gun charge. And this judge helped him out in several other ways. I can promise you, if Kyle Rittenhouse had been black and part of Black Lives Matter, he would never have gotten that help. Now he's a fucking hero. There's nothing that the GOP would like more than a nation where the right wing is armed to the teeth and is protecting America. Every time you see Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, they're pictured with guns. They have flaunted the rules and brought guns onto the congressional floor. You know what? This country has got a very sick element, And people here had better pay attention. Do you agree vaccine mandates are unconstitutional? No, I absolutely do not. Let me give you a little reality, folks. We have been mandating vaccines for kids in school since 1977. Nobody ever had a problem with that until Donald Trump made it a problem. My children not only had to produce a document that said that they had a physical before school started, but I had to bring in their vaccination records. That's called public health. It's not called oppression. You know, the anti-vax mandates and all of that, the anti-vaxxers and their mandate obsession, that's white man's oppression. That's all they got to crow about. Let this sink in. We have been requiring vaccines in school since 1977. Period. This is not new with COVID, and this is not about oppression. So shut the fuck up. Will you support Republicans who stand against vaccine mandates? That's a moot question because I don't support Republicans on any level for any reason at any time. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Yeah, you suck. How's that? Does that work for you? You know what, people? I suggest to you that everybody should be paying attention to exactly what's going down here. In Florida, we have just passed a don't say gay law. So now kids can't feel comfortable in school if they're questioning their sexuality. My kids did. Your kids won't. We have spent an entire, since Donald Trump's been out of office, we have filed more anti-trans bills. Now we have a governor in Texas demanding that his public health group look at transgender treatment as child abuse. Fuck you. Denying that this exists and forcing a child to be uncomfortable with who they are, that's child abuse. I speak quite personally about this. I have a child in transition. And frankly, I keep hearing from the right wing that they are doing all of this nonsense convoy to protect everybody's rights. They actually aren't. Okay? They aren't. This isn't about masks and mandates. There's truckers going down there to demand justice for Ashley Babbitt, an insurrectionist who managed to get herself killed. Nobody killed her unjustifiably. She's not George Floyd, okay? She was told to stop. She did not. This isn't about your freedom. The convoy truckers aren't coming to protect your freedom unless you are white, straight, and men. And the sooner people understand this, the better off this will be as a nation. I'll talk to you all later because I'm not done yet, but I think I've taken up enough of your time with this sheer and utter fucking nonsense. I'll talk to you later.